My two favorite classes to play in 5th edition have always been the Wizard and the Fighter, and guess which classes Kobold Press decided to add to the second version of the Project Black Flag playtest. Hi there fellow roleplayers and game masters, my name is Mr. Trosk and this is your go-to YouTube channel for everything Kobold Press. Last week I reviewed their new book Cities and Towns. I do lore videos for the Midgard campaign setting, and of course I cover Project Black Flag, a system that I'm looking really forward to, especially since we get to playtest it, we get to send in our feedback, and they are clearly listening to our feedback, because now in this new playtest, the second one, they are adding these little behind the curtains sections where they talk to us like, oh, and we got this from feedback and we got this from feedback, so with some of the spells descriptions and all that jazz. So in the first playtest they gave us lineages and heritages, basically creating like who we were, but now they give us two class options, which are the Fighter and the Wizard, which is really great because now you can build a complete character kind of. Now the spell lists aren't complete yet, the talent lists aren't complete yet, but it's all there and you can really start building now and start playtesting this. So maybe like one of your players wants to playtest a fighter from this game in your 5th edition game, which could totally work. Now I like 80% of what I'm reading right here, but I have to be skeptic. That's my job, that's what I do. I really hate luck as a measurable tool in an RPG. It is a pet peeve of mine, and I don't know why, but it pisses me off when people try to make luck a measurable thing. I would get it if it was called Spidey senses or force points like in the old Star Wars RPGs, but luck is luck. It is called luck for a reason. It just happens or it doesn't happen. Now, they say here that please, they kind of ask us, please, before like giving your full opinion about this, please playtest it, because we had some people saying that it felt clunky when you read it, but once you play it, it becomes really fun, which I understand. I understand that they're asking us to like really playtest it before giving our feedback. So take everything I'm saying right now with a grain of salt, because I haven't playtested it at my table. But this is what it is. It is luck, quantizing luck, which is to me that it stops right there. Is that a word? Quantizing? Probably is a word. Once per turn, when you fail an attack roll or a save, you gain 1 luck point. A GM can give you a luck point for like clever IDs or excellent role playing, and you can gain luck points for difficult encounters. So you gain a shit ton of luck points. So every time you fail something, you gain luck point, right? Then you can have a maximum of 5 luck points, and when you would gain a 6th, your luck points, so if you haven't spent your 5 luck points and you gain a 6th, your luck points are reset to 1d4, really inviting you to use your luck points. And that's something, the losing luck points to 1d4 thing, that's something I really like. I like the randomness of that, but like gaining a luck point every freaking time when you fail an attack roll or a save, that's just some proper, I don't know, that's, for me, that feels too hand-holdy. So what do these luck points do? You can use them to gain a +1 on a d20 roll, basically. So a save or an attack roll or whatever, a check. You roll, then when you know the result, but you don't know the outcome, you can say like, I turn my 13 into a 15 by spending 2 luck points, which is in itself a good system. But gaining one every time you fail something, I don't know, man. I don't know. Now they say it's an attack roll or a save, so okay. You don't gain one when you cast a spell. That doesn't work where the enemy has to save. But still, a fighter who gets a luck. So you can pile these up all the way to 5, and then in your next turn just take a +5. Yeah, I really don't like that part of it, and I don't like quantizing, I don't know if it's a word, luck. as a thing. Luck is just, I know Indiana Jones is lucky. I know Han Solo, who's basically the same dude, are lucky, but it is just not something that you, yeah, enough rambling about that. I don't like it. I'm eager to find out if you playtest it and if you like it, but I really, well, I don't hate the system per se. I just hate that it is called luck, and I hate that you get it like way too often. That's basically the takeaway from that. Now, character classes. Let's get into the juicy part of this, because this is what I really like. Fighter and the wizard, and it goes straight like into it. Like, first of all, they say right here the fighter is a hardy adventurer who excel in combat and weapon use. The hit die is a d10, strength or dex, con and strength saves, proficiencies, equipment proficiencies, all weapons and all armor type, of course. So the fighter is right here, and it goes all the way up to level 8. Kobold Press probably thinks you're dead by the time you are at level 8, because if you've ever read Kobold Press monsters, you know you're probably going to die by level 8, so you just start over. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know where they're going. If they're going to add more levels, probably they are. But right now it is until level 8. And there is something that I really, really, really like about the way they build these characters. So this the kind of stuff right here we all know and love. It's the hit points. It is the hit points, the high levels, the proficiency, starting equipment, and all that stuff. I will go into this a bit later. The first thing I want to talk about is they have this fighter progression table. But then they give a progression table for the subclasses. So one of the subclasses is the Spellblade, who is a fighter that can cast spells, Eldritch Knight basically. And a third level they gain arcane spellcasting, enchanted weapon, and extended talent list. And a 7th level they gain spell multi-attack. So that is something they gain at 3rd and 7th. So all of the subclasses for the fighter gain something. So they call this disciples, by the way, something at level 3 and something at level 7, but they give a separate thingy right here, which is cool. They do the same for the weapon master, which is only this. Because you only get something at 3rd and 7th level. Here's the same thing, 3rd and 7th level. They just needed to add all the levels because of the spells you can cast, right? So that is, I like that they have that in there, and that really reminds me of 3rd edition with like the prestige classes who had like, at level X, I don't know what it was, at level 5 or something, you become an assassin, and then there's an other progression table that kind of just takes over, and then you go back to being a rogue, which was something that I really loved about 3rd edition, and I've kind of missed ever since. So let's get a little bit deeper into the fighter itself. The fighter has a last stand. I like this. This is kind of second wind, but cooler. Once you drop below your half your hit point maximum, rounded down, you can use your reaction to expend one or more of your hit dice up to a number of equal to your proficiency bonus. Immediately roll the hit dice and add your constitution modifier. You gain that many hit points. Then you need to, that was my Discord, I need to switch that off. Let me quickly, shut up. So, where was I? Yeah, so you need to finish a long rest before you can use it again. So instead of the second wind being short rest, this heals you more, but it is a long rest, and you don't really get to choose when to use it, right? So that is something that I really like about it. Then there is the martial actions. Your tactical expertise allows you to act quickly on the field of battle, granting you a unique combat action called martial action. So martial actions is kind of like those things the battle master has. There is aim, guard, quick strike, wind up. Let me see, aim, as a bonus action, you take the time to increase the effectiveness of your next ranged weapon attack. When you use aim, select one target. You can see if you make a ranged weapon attack against that target before the end of your turn, you double your proficiency bonus for the first attack roll. Awesome, that's aim. Guard, as a bonus action, you raise your shields. When you use guard, select one enemy creature when the target has disadvantage on the first attack roll it makes against you. Quick strike, wind up. As a bonus action, you take the time to increase the effectiveness of your next weapon attack. When you use wind up, select one target you can see within 5 feet of you. If you make a melee weapon attack against that target before the end of your turn, you double your proficiency bonus for the first attack roll. So, wait. Oh, this is for, okay, this is ranged. It's the same thing as ranged, but this is like a melee version of it. There is still Action Surge. Disciple is the subclass which gives you something at 3rd and 7th level. It's really handy that they put it right here. That's something that other RPGs can really learn from. Put those little things of pieces of text that I need. I'm dyslexic, so finding those in a big block of text is really hard for me, so put it up there. Improvement, which is basically your when you gain more points to your ability score improvement. Sorry, when you reach 4th level, you can, and again at 8th level, you can increase one ability score of your choice by 1 and choose a talent for which you meet the pre-requirements from the martial talent list. Yes, and this is a good change. They have more pre-requirements for the classes. So now not everybody can take like kinda every feat, and they just kinda, I don't know, they kinda, we'll get into that. There's multi-attack, there is more here. Disciples, there is the Spellblade, who basically can cast spells from the Arcane Circle. So they now call them circles. They have the Arcane Circle, the Divine Circle, and if I'm not mistaken, the Primal Circle or something like that. So you can cast spells from the Arcane Circle, and shows you how many spell slots you have available to cast your Arcane Circle spells of 1st ring and higher. There are no spell levels anymore. Spell levels are now spell rings, which I think sounds really cool. Enchant weapon, expanded talent list. Whenever you gain a new talent, you can select that talent from the martial or magic talent list. So yes, they have talents, feats basically, that are on a list, and there's now a list for martials, and there's now a list for magic talents. And there's probably going to be more, I don't know, primal talents or whatever. Spell multi-attack. When you use your multi-attack class feature, you make multiple attacks with the attack action. You can replace one of those attacks with casting a cantrip, Then there is the Weapon Master. Choose 3 simple or martial weapons with which you have proficiency. You have mastered to use those 3 weapons. Once per turn, when you roll damage attack with a weapon you have mastered, you can re-roll one of the weapon's damage dice, which is basically that feat from 5th edition, but you just get it because you are a weapon master. Wasn't that feat just called Weapon Master? Where you get the re-roll when you one of the hit dies? Isn't that? Anyway, and then you can do stunts. They call it stunts. 3rd level Weapon Master. These are basically from the Battle Master maneuvers, but they just call them stunts, which I think is a really Kobold Press thing to do. I love you, Kobold Press, for calling those stunts. You gain a number of stun points equal to your proficiency bonus plus 1. To perform a stunt, you must spend the required amount of stunt points. You regain any. So there's another point system. I don't really like point systems. They get in the way of the action because people need to do math, and I'm really good at doing math from the top of my head, but I know people who aren't. They're really slow with that. And even like 4 minus 3, everybody knows it's 2. It is hard for some people to do. Cheap shots. Hobbling strike. Make it count. When you take the attack action, you can make a single weapon attack with a +10 to the attack. You can't make additional attacks as part of the attack action, even if features like multi-attack would normally. Oh, so you can negate your multi-attack and just be like, wind up! Poof! And just smash something to somebody to smithereens. So how many points do you get? I want to know how many points do you get. Oh, you have a number of points equal to proficiency bonus plus 1. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's perfect. Run true. That sounds cool. When you successfully deal damage with a weapon attack, you also deal an additional half that amount of damage to a different target you can see within 5 feet of the original attack. They should add the word can here, because rules as written, you now, if there is an ally next to that person you just hit, you need to hit the ally. it should say you can also, or you can choose to also deal, not you. Nitpicking. I love this fighter, by the way. I really do. I really do love this fighter. And I really actually want to play test it in a 5th edition campaign. I want somebody to build a fighter, and from my group to build a fighter. I'm probably having a TPK anyway, so I'm gonna just hand this over to one of my players to, like, maybe they want to play the fighter, but they might want to play the wizard. And then we have the wizard, which is, I kid you not, my second favorite class next to the fighter. My fighter is my favorite class of all time, playing 4th edition, 3rd edition, 5th edition, and after that the wizard. I always play the most vanilla fighter I can find and the most divination-like wizards. I build wizards that only have divination spells, just because I like it that much. So the wizard is everything we know and love. Now, I am not gonna go as deep into this as the fighter, probably, but it's the same thing. It has a wizard progression table, which gives spell casting, magic sense, a bunch of stuff that I will talk about, but also cantrips, rituals, and spells to cast. So, most stuff is very, like, just stuff we know and love. Some is like adjusted slightly, like now there is like the rituals known thing here, but it is just something, it feels familiar, it's not completely the same. And then there is arcane recovery, which is basically you have learned to regain some of your magical energy by studying your spell book. Once per day when you finish a short rest, you can choose to expand the spell slots to recover. Magic sense. Now, I really like this magic sense. You gain this at 2nd level, and you would say, like, oh, it's kind of like a standard feature. Now you can open your awareness, which sounds really Dune-like, to stuff, but it just really covers a lot of ground, this magic sense. Your growing field experience allows you to perceive nearby magical workings. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect magical forces. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any creatures with the ability to cast spells, ongoing spell effects, or magical items within 30 feet of you. If the magical effect is the result of an ongoing spell, you learn which school of magic the spell belongs to. This sense can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, which is about this, a football, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead or tree. Yeah, they always go into that lead, wood, stone thing. I just always wing it as a game master. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus +1. And then a long rests. I think this is a really powerful thing to have as a standard wizard. Not even a divination wizard. Just any freaking wizard will have proficiency bonus +1. So it's probably, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably going to be, so proficiency bonus right here is, a 2nd level, it's +2, so +1 is 3 times a day. You can know any magical forces, spells, ongoing spell effects, magic items, the location of those creatures, the school of the magic. This is the reason why I built divination wizards, to be able to do this stuff. Now the wizard can just do it. I think it is incredibly powerful. I like the feature, but I don't think I like every wizard having it. But that's just, well, it's playtest. I just think that's not something I would like. I would like to just give this to the divination wizard, right? Arcane tradition, which is like divination and all that stuff, and invocation and I don't know, celebration, all that stuff. Improvement, we all know and love this. So there is the battle mage, which gets an expanded talent list, spell ward, and the feature tactical caster, and then contingency plan. So the spell ward is really cool, but the expanded spell list is talent list is starting when you select a tradition 3rd level. Whenever you wizard level would grant you an improvement, you can choose to gain a new talent, and you can choose to gain a new talent. You can select a talent from the martial or the magic talent list. So the same thing for the spell. So you have the spell casting fighter, but now you also have the fighting wizard, right? Which I like. I like having, like, oh, what do I want as a base? I want to be somewhat fighty, but I want to also be able to cast spells. you could go a spellcasting fighter, but if you want to do the same thing but be more about casting spells and be somewhat fighty, you could do it like this, right? The spell ward is basically shield, kinda for a minute. It lasts a minute, and you gain an armor class equal to your proficiency bonus, and you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. But it ends early if you are knocked unconscious or your turn ends and you haven't cast a spell of the first ring or higher since your last turn. So you can activate this, but then you need to continuously cast spells in order to keep it active. That's the way I'm reading it, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Casting spells to defend yourself. Really, I love whoever came up with this feature. I love you. I want to marry you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your gender is. I want to marry you. That's proper wizard stuff. I like it. Tactical caster contingency plan. When you fail to hit a creature with a spell attack, you can use your reaction to attempt to redirect the spell toward a different target within the spell's range. You must make a new spell attack roll for a new target. So this is not like something that you have only once per day. This is like 7th level battle mage. Whenever you fail to hit a creature with a spell attack, whenever you can use your reaction to attempt. So every round when you fail a spell attack, you get to redirect it. So you get like another chance. This is where Black Flag, again, kind of loses me with the power creep. This is too much for me, too much. You're giving too much to the players. I like player characters being strong. I don't mind it as a game master. I play with power players at my table. I can handle them. I just throw different kind of shit at the table, and I just completely beat their asses to the ground. I'm just kidding. I can handle it because I'm experienced, but this is just giving them too much. I don't know. By level 7 turns, I feel like with this system, turns are going to take so long, and I wish Kobold Press would just take a small step back in the power creep thing. I don't mind the power creep thing. I'm actually used to it from Kobold Press. Their monsters are way more powerful. All class options they ever bring to the table in their other books are always very powerful, but I'm afraid this is going to be slightly too much, because maybe just make this you can use this as many times as your proficiency bonus per day, something like that, and that would make way more sense. Cantrip Adept. I like this. This was first introduced in the Tome of Heroes, and I like it. It is awesome. It is a wizard who specializes in cantrips instead of spells. They can still cast spells, but now they can, whenever you cast an arcane cantrip that has a casting time of 1 action, you can change the casting time to a bonus action for that casting. You can use this feature a number of times equals to your proficiency bonus. This would make more sense for this, to my opinion. You gain 2 cantrips of your choice from any circle spell list, so it doesn't have to be arcane. They count as arcane for you as a player, for you as a character, but they don't. I'm sorry. They don't have to. I need to drink coffee. They don't need to be arcane, which is awesome. I like that. That's a polymath cantrip, dude. Yeah. And then there's talents. The talents in this section marked with a asterisk originally appeared in the playtest package 1, but now have slight modifications. So I like that they have this. Like, for example, the mental fortitude behind the curtain says a lot of you focused on the confusing language of the first bullet point of this talent in your playtest. So they go into a lot of trouble explaining how they changed it and why they changed it, and telling us they basically listened to us. And I like the way. That was my baby monitor. I have my baby monitor right here, and it made noise. But it's okay. Let's go. Let's keep going. They're basically listening to us, and you can fill in these surveys. They are not like questions with multiple answers. They are you just fill in a form. And I don't know who has the time at Kobold Press, the time to read all that stuff. But yeah, that's it. So spell levels are now spell rings. So first ring all the way up to 9. There is still so there is an arcane circle, there is a divine circle, a primordial circle, and a weird circle. So let's just look into that. The primordial circle of magic draws its power from the primal energies of nature. So probably druids and rangers are going to get that. By the way, I'm really curious about the ranger, what they're going to do with that. Can cause a forest to sprout from barren lands, split the skies, and violent storms, all of that stuff. Also, they give conversion tips everywhere across this playtest, which I really like. Conversion from 5th edition. Just tips like, oh, you can convert this into this, this into this. It's really easy to convert it into the Project Black Flag system, which, yeah. The weird circle of magic draws its power from the forces that stir beyond immeasurable reality. A weird caster can draw unnatural energy into existence to form a mass of writhing tendrils, summon another creature from a different plane to fight. Oh wow, that's new for me. That's cool. It's cool. Spell rings, spell slots, they go into like how spell casting works. I'm not gonna go too deep into that because there are there's gassing time and there's range and line and sphere and cube and duration and description, and then they give us a complete spell list, which we'll look into. So there's a bunch of spells, arcane spells, they go... So there's a bunch of arcane spells that are right here, cantrips and spells from first ring, second ring, third ring, but only the ones with this little starry thing, which they call an asterisk, are actually in the playtest material to kind of like give you an idea of what they're going for. Behind the curtain, note that spells in core fantasy role-playing, that's by the way the name of this system that multiple brands are going to, like publishers are going to be able to use to build their own kind of RPG or their own adventures or whatever. So Project Black Flag is only one of the many systems built upon the core fantasy role-playing system. So that's really cool. Are either ritual spells or not ritual spells. There are no longer spells that can be cast as normal spells or ritual spells. This is a deviation from the 5e rules. I love that. I love that there's no spells that are either a ritual or not. Comprehend languages, which is my favorite spell of all time. You understand any language you hear or read. For the duration, you understand the literal meaning of any spoken language that you hear. You also understand any written language that you can see. You must be touching the surface on which the words are written. It takes you about 1 minute to read a page of text. 1 minute to read one page of text. I cannot read a page of text 1 minute. This spell doesn't decode secret messages in a text, blah, blah, blah. So note the spell is no longer castable as a ritual. So comprehend languages is not a ritual anymore. It is either you cast it and you spend the spell slot or you don't cast it. Detect magic is still here. Mage armor is still here. Let's see if there's anything different. I don't know if there's anything different. Magic missile, glowing nodes of force, blah 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 blah. Higher rings when you cast a spell using spell slot 1d4 plus 1 force damage. There isn't really. Oh, there is rituals. Create familiar is a ritual. Will take you 1 hour to do. As part of this ritual, you imbue your chosen vessel with a spark of your own life force to create an arcane familiar. This familiar assumes an animal form you choose from the following options: a bat, cat, crab, frog, road, toad, lizard, octopus, owl, poisonous snake, fish, rat, raven, seahorse, spider, or weasel. Not Ron Weasley, but a weasel. See the SRD for stat blocks. Upon completion of the ritual, your familiar appears in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of you. So it's basically summon ritual, summon familiar, create familiar, but it is only a ritual. It is not anymore available as not a ritual. And it's basically the only ritual that is in there right now. So as I said, there aren't a lot of spells in here. To help focus this playtest, we have decided to intentionally not include the rewritten descriptions of every spell listed in this packet. We have only included a small sample of full spell description to showcase examples of what reworked spells could look like. So yeah, that is basically Project Black Flag for you at this point. It is right now. We have a class, the fighter. We have another class, the wizard. We have talents, which I didn't really cover because the videos get too long otherwise. We have luck quantified. Blech. But other than that, it is great, and I'm really I'm like legit extremely excited for this. I really want, my players right now are in a really bad situation, and I think one or two might end up having to re-roll another character. So I wanna try to get them, if they're interested, to play one of these characters from this playtest, just to help playtest Project Black Flag, because that is important. Download it for yourself, fill in the survey, help shape Project Black Flag, because Kobold Press makes amazing books. They will be making monster books for this. They will be making Dungeon Master, Game Master books for this, player books for this. There will be an entire new brand thing, and I want this to be good enough to become my standard system, with or without the luck. If the luck remains like this, I'll probably just cast it aside and don't use it. But other than that, I want it to be my, I want it to become good enough to become my go-to system for my players who want to play D&D. That's what they're calling it. I'm now just calling it Project Black Flag. Until next video, bye-bye.